Indeed, this is an interesting compound with a plethora of dosage-related effects. It is among the most potent amphetamine-substituted psychedelics. I have had the chance to try this compound out thoroughly and I wish to report on the effects that were produced. First, let me say that at any effective level, which seems to be as low as 0.4 mg or 400 micrograms, this is a very long-lasting experience. The duration that the effects unfold do not seem to be as dependent on the dosage as is the actual nature of the subjective effects. The typical progression with any dosage higher than a mg seem to be roughly follow the same pattern. At about 45 minutes after dosage time, the first alert becomes evident. Typically a bit of energy, sweaty palms, and a slightly speeded up heartbeat. This is very typical of amphetamine class compounds and DOB is no exception. After reading up as much as I could lay my hands on about the substance, I decided that 1.5 mg would be a nice middle dosage to pursue for the first delvings. The creator of the compound suggests 1 to 3 mg as a dosage range. That first taste of DOB was nothing extraordinary to this veteran of psychedelics. In fact, the visual component of 1.5 mg was very attenuated. What was pronounced was the amphetamine component in regards to a very wakeful state. I seemed even a bit agitated by the compound. Objects barely had a shimmer, lines in the room would had a hint of undulating motion. Moreover, the somatic feelings were not one of euphoria. It was an agitated state of sped-up metabolism. However, I must note that there did seem to be an introspective quality to thought. One could concentrate on subjects and work through thought processes with more ease than usual. After 8 hours of nothing extraordinary, my mind was tired of rolling through the same thought processes, so I decided to see if sleep would be possible. This proved difficult. In the dark, laying in bed, the visual component seemed come alive a bit. A field of angry red flashed and pulsed in the dark room. Physically, I felt a forced stimulation that just didn't seem to want to let go. After much tossing and turning, I managed to drift off, although upon awakening, I still felt that I was off baseline. This is difficult to describe. No longer was I feeling forced stimulation, but I was definitely awake, and my sleep proved to be light. I just seemed a bit aloof for the first half of the day. I felt a bit fuzzy, although good and warm. My next trial was with 2 mg. This dosage seemed to bring the compound to a level where its signature was quite marked. Still a very energizing event, but with much more visual play. The visuals were not very overwhelming, nonetheless. A good comparison would be 2CB. All of the effects of the 1.5 mg are present, but with more visual play and a bit more stimulation. 2.75 mg. So this is what DOB is all about. This was quite remarkable. The ride going up was slow, speedy and filled with anxiety as the feeling would keep building and building to a peak for nearly 3 hours. It produces a very stimulating climb. However, once that plateau has been reached, a remarkable transformation takes place. There is a paradoxical relaxation and the euphoria is somewhat likened unto the MDMA realm. The colors are quite spectacular. Rainbow spectrum of visuals are generated in the night sky. Everything takes on a magical property. The feel of the drug is much different than the lower doses. It is much more empathetic and euphoric. The visuals are possibly on par or even more pronounced than most doses of LSD. If I had to compare, although of a slightly different character, the intensity of the visuals can be likened to a 150 microgram LSD dose. A definite experience to remember. Very long-lived. Intense visuals for 8 to 12 hours and a long 8 to 12-hour tale of just a great sense of well-being. Any higher dosage than this should be approached with great caution. There were episodes of very spacey moments in which I would catch myself daydreaming. All in all, a very interesting compound.